Hello. This is a very quick vlog. Just to say that I nearly died from a tooth infection. When I went to the dentist, I had 3 teeth to have took out, and he took out 1, and he decided to take the one that was infected out. And I says to him, I don't think it's a good idea, and he went, no, it needs to come out. So he took out my top tooth here. It took him an hour and a half to do it because it snapped and broke, so he had to get another dentist. So it took 2 dentists 1.5 hours to take my tooth out. While he was doing it, there was no suction being used, and he popped the infection, and I was tasting it all the way through. It was not nice, but I was okay. But when I got home, I started to feel poorly, and over the next few days the pain was getting worse and worse in my mouth. My face came right out here. I just felt ill, so I went to bed and stayed there. I had no energy, but as time went on, I was getting more and more ill, and after a week I just couldn't cope anymore. I said, this is just not right, something's not right. I just don't feel well at all. So Paul phoned up the doctors, and they told me to go to the hospital. So I went, and I saw the hospital dentist, and all he did was look in my mouth, and then he gave me some antibiotics. Well, I came home and started taking them, and then after a couple of days it went into my throat, and my throat came out here, and my face was out here, but my throat was seizing up, and I got quinces, and I couldn't swallow my own spit. And then I had a problem with my sinus. There was an infection in there, and I had water pouring down the back of my throat from my nose, just pouring and pouring and pouring, and I couldn't swallow it, so I had to keep spitting it out. So I couldn't sleep, I couldn't drink, and I couldn't eat. After a couple of days I was really ill, so Paul phoned the hospital, and they said, the doctor, we went to see an emergency doctor, and he said, open your mouth and let me look inside. And I couldn't speak, and I couldn't open my mouth more than like that, and my tongue had swollen up and everything, and I was really ill. And he said, look, there's no I can do for you. You need to either go home with antibiotics or go to A&E and see an ENT specialist. So we decided to drive to the hospital, and when we got there, the assessor looked at me, and he went, it looks like you've got tonsillitis. Well, I'll let you see somebody, but you know, it was really quite dismissive. And then suddenly he got this notion to say, I'll just take a blood test just to see. So I was taken through the back and given a blood test, and within half hour I was on a drip with high levels of antibiotics and steroids and all kinds of stuff. And next thing, I'm admitted into hospital, and they say, you've got sepsis in your blood, it's gone into your blood. And I was peeing black by this time. It was really dark, and I was hallucinating, and it was strange. But I was never scared during all of this. I never felt scared. I just felt, if my time is up, it's up. I wasn't in the slightest bit scared by it all. But I was looked after well in the hospital by the staff. Everybody was lovely and friendly, and I was on the drip for 2 days, and then they said you can go home. They gave me some high-level antibiotics to take home. I got home that night and took 1 dose, and then I felt ill. The next morning I took the next dose, and I collapsed because I must have had a bad reaction to them, but I stood up and just fell down. So I had to go straight back to hospital, and this time the treatment was so different. It was shocking. I collapsed on the way into the hospital, and Paul was dragging me over the car park on his own, and nobody came to help. When I got to the reception, I was losing consciousness and I was put into a chair, and they said we're busy, so they put me in a corridor facing the waiting room. So everybody was watching, but I was out of it. I was just gone. I felt like I'd left my body and I wasn't there anymore. And Paul was really sick, but what could he do? He was just trying to hold me up all the time, and eventually I was given another blood test after 2 hours of being collapsed in the chair. It came back, I've still got sepsis, and it's going to take time to go, but they said it was down a bit from the last time I'd had one. So they just gave me other antibiotics, and so far I haven't had an episode, but I've got to stay in bed and get better, because my legs just keep going from under me, and it's just made me really, really weak. So, but I just wanted everyone to know, and also the importance of dealing with an infection while it's there, because I'd realised in retrospect that I've had this infection for 2 years, and it's obviously been low grade infection in my mouth, and it's been under control. But when I was at work last year on the holiday park, I kept getting flare-ups, and I was really ill, and I went to the doctor's dentist, and they said it's going to cost you £1,000 to get all the work done on your teeth. So it got delayed, and then the appointment was 6 months later, and in the meantime it went down again. But I've been ill for 2 years. This is it. We've lived in toxic mould environments and had tooth infections, and me and Paul have both had the same symptoms for 2 years, and I think it's the mould and the infection. And the catalyst was having a tooth took out, because obviously it was popped, the abscess was popped, and then it went into my blood. But I was ill anyway. So hopefully now we've had a wake-up call. Get your teeth sorted, please, and don't let any dentist take out an infected tooth, because he didn't even clean the socket when he'd done. He didn't clean it out, he didn't give me antibiotics, he didn't do any follow-up care. So I'm reporting all this because it's negligence, and it's disgusting, because I could have died all of getting a tooth took out. So, but anyway, I'm alive and kicking still. You can't get rid of me. And the good news is, when I was laid in hospital, a gift came to me. I get these gifts, and the gift was music, and I was laid there nodding to sleep, and I heard this epic music in my head, and I saw the video and everything, and I thought, oh my God. I came home and started to play it. I actually started to play it, so this is going to be recorded. So I realised while I was in hospital that my purpose here is to heal people with music, because music heals, it uplifts, it can do anything you want it to do, and I realised that was my purpose. So I am going anywhere now. So anyway, I just want to say hello to everyone, and just keep everyone updated, and hopefully be back to normal soon, and probably worse than ever. Right, that's all I can say for now, so goodbye for now.